Oh, yeah. Coming up next, we have the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte. That's right. When he's not out house hunting, you could find him having tea parties with Zozo, at playing Cinderella and reminding her that she always must be home before midnight. That's right. It is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Man, the crowd goes wild.
Oh man, thanks, Jason. Yeah, so my story is coming out of the great state of New York. So New York State Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York City Mayor Eric Adams have earned plenty of negative criticism for the Empire State's sputtering rollout of adult use cannabis, with just 4 shops open, 3.5 months into 2023, as the nation's biggest city's streets have essentially transformed into a traptastic winter wonderland. But this weekend, words sharper than most hit the news wires from a well-known New York prohibitionist with more time, money, and media access than he knows what to do with. Here's a few excerpts from former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg's laughable opinion piece in the Washington Post. About a decade after states began legalizing recreational marijuana use, there's a little doubt who the biggest winners have been: criminals. And it's equally apparent who the biggest losers have been: kids. New York State's disastrous experiment with legalization is making both of those facts painfully and dangerously obvious. Advocates promoted legalization as a way to increase tax revenue, establish a safe marketplace, and reduce arrests and criminal penalties. But experience has shown that the only way to achieve the first two goals is to abandon the third by cracking down on illegal stores that undercut legal sellers. And the only way to achieve the third goal is to abandon the first two by allowing shops sell untaxed and unsafe products at a discount. Most states have opted to take the latter route, hoping to collect new revenue without taking responsibility for enforcement. Not surprisingly, illicit stores have flourished while licensed shops and growers have struggled to turn a profit. Many have gone out of business. The brand started by Jerry Garcia's family recently folded up shop in California. Shots fired by Bloomberg there. So New York's experience should be a warning to the nation. The goals of legalization movement are utterly at odds with each other. The free lunch legislators sought more tax revenue with no enforcement responsibilities. Health risks to youth dangers was always a fairy tale. Now it's gone all up in smoke. It's time to get serious about protecting our children. Bloomberg was called out for cannabis policy hypocrisy during his failed 2020 democracy primary run after a tape was leaked of him on Twitter speaking to campaign donors, defending the infamously racist Giuliani era broken windows policies that he kept intact before downplaying his own enjoyment of illegal recreational consumption back in the 60s as being quote unquote different. Broken windows policies gave cops the power to stop and frisk anyone they say looked suspicious in underserved neighborhoods. Misinformed defenders of the racist policies argued that targeting of Black and brown communities was necessary and cleaned up New York streets in a time of need. But historical data shows its disproportionately distributed use of force was responsible for 50% of cannabis arrests pinned on Black citizens, and 85% total were non-white on average each year of Bloomberg's 12-year mayorship, amounting to tens of thousands of nonviolent offenders prosecuted annually and separated from their families. Thus proving broken windows more effective at amplifying distrust and tension between communities of color and law enforcement than anything else. He was supposed to be the left's answer to Donald Trump, and he spent nearly $2 billion of his own dollars to hire a digital troll army whose dank memes proved no match for Trump's trolls, who really meant what they said. And now he's been diminished to heckling at New York's current leadership from the cheap seats. Sad. Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams would have been better off just ignoring Bloomberg's low energy cries for attention, but they're Democrats, so of course they took the bait. They offered their own lukewarm responses through their respective teams. So this is from Hochul's spokeswoman, Hazel Crampton Hayes. We continue to work with our partners to enforce the law and to explore every possible mechanism available to protect New Yorkers and shut down illicit operators. A spokesman for Mayor Adams' office offered this. The state has laid out a process of obtaining legal cannabis dispensary licenses, and we must make sure that they are distributed fairly and equitably. But those cutting the line are hurting hardworking, law-abiding business owners who are following the rules. Hochul just needs to quit writing verbal checks that her administration cannot cash, and Adams shouldn't be saying shit. He greenlit New York's return to broken windows policy last March. Come on, dude. Look, things are not going as planned in New York cannabis, and everybody knows that. But if you want the people to believe in your ability to right the ship, the last thing you should be doing right now is feeding the trolls, especially trolls with as much money and time on their hands as Michael Bloomberg has.